The British monarchy has long been associated with wealth, opulence, and a history of colonization. However, a recent call from South Africa has brought attention to a dark side of this history: the theft of valuable diamonds and other precious artifacts from colonized nations. In particular, South Africa has demanded that the British royal family return a diamond that was stolen from their country during the colonial era and is now a part of King Charles's crown. This article will delve into the history of colonialism, the theft of diamonds from South Africa, and the controversy surrounding the demand for the return of the diamond. Colonialism and diamond theft. The colonization of South Africa by European powers began in the 17th century when the Dutch East India Company established a trading post in Cape Town. The British eventually took control of the Cape Colony in the early 19th century and expanded their rule to other parts of South Africa. Throughout this time, the British and other colonial powers engaged in a practice that would come to be known as cultural theft, which involved taking artifacts, land, and resources from colonized nations. One of the most sought-after resources was diamonds, which were abundant in South Africa. Diamond mining in South Africa began in the 1860s and quickly became a profitable enterprise for European companies. However, the diamond mines were located on land that was inhabited by indigenous South Africans, who were often forced to work in the mines under terrible conditions. The British government and companies also imposed strict regulations on the diamond trade to ensure that they would maintain a monopoly on the industry and reap the benefits of the profits. The most famous diamond mine in South Africa was the Kimberley mine, which was owned by the De Beers Company. The company was founded by Cecil Rhodes, a British businessman and politician who had a vision of creating a British-controlled empire in Africa. Under his leadership, De Beers became one of the most powerful companies in the world, controlling the majority of the world's diamond supply. However, the wealth and success of the diamond industry came at a great cost to the people of South Africa, who were exploited and oppressed by the colonial powers. Theft of the Cullinan Diamond. One of the most notorious instances of diamond theft from South Africa occurred in 1905 when a massive diamond known as the Cullinan Diamond was discovered in the Premier mine near Pretoria. The diamond was the largest ever found, weighing over 3,100 carats. It was eventually purchased by the British government and presented to King Edward VII as a gift. The diamond was then cut into 9 large pieces and numerous smaller stones, which were incorporated into various pieces of jewelry. One of the larger pieces of the diamond, known as the Cullinan Eye or the Great Star of Africa, was mounted on the sovereign's scepter with cross, which is part of the crown jewels of the United Kingdom. Another piece, the Cullinan II or the Lesser Star of Africa, was mounted on the imperial state crown. These 2 pieces are among the most valuable and famous jewels in the world and are symbols of the wealth and power of the British monarchy. South Africa's demand for the return of the diamond. In recent years, there has been growing pressure on the British royal family to return stolen artifacts and treasures to their countries of origin. This pressure has come from activists, historians, and the governments of former colonies who argue that these items were stolen or acquired through exploitation and should be returned as a form of restitution. In 2021, the government of South Africa added their voice to this call by demanding that the British royal family return the Cullinan diamond that is part of King Charles's crown. The South African government argued that the diamond was stolen from their country and should be returned as a symbol of reconciliation and healing between the 2 nations. The demand was made by South Africa's Minister of Tourism, Mmamoloko Kabanye Nubane, who stated that the Cullinan diamond is one of South Africa's heritage assets, and it is our view that it should be returned to its rightful home. The demand sparked controversy and debate among historians, activists, and the general public. Some argued that the diamond was rightfully acquired by the British government and that it was a part of their cultural heritage. Others countered that the diamond was stolen from South Africa during a time of colonization and exploitation and that it should be returned as a form of restitution and reconciliation. The British government has not yet responded to the demand for the return of the diamond. However, in the past, they have been reluctant to return stolen artifacts and treasures, citing legal and cultural reasons. The British Museum, for example, has been criticized for holding on to artifacts that were taken from colonized nations, including the Elgin marbles from Greece and the Rosetta Stone from Egypt. The debate over repatriation. The debate over the repatriation of stolen artifacts and treasures is not new and has been ongoing for many years. The issue has gained momentum in recent years, with calls for repatriation coming from various parts of the world, including Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Activists and historians argue that the repatriation of these items is not just a matter of returning stolen property, but it is also a matter of restoring dignity and justice to colonized nations. Those who oppose repatriation argue that the artifacts and treasures were acquired legally or that they are part of a shared cultural heritage. They also argue that repatriation would lead to the loss of cultural and historical objects and would set a dangerous precedent for future claims. The debate over repatriation raises important questions about cultural heritage, ownership, and restitution. It forces us to confront the legacy of colonialism and the ongoing effects of exploitation and oppression. It also challenges us to consider the ethical implications of holding on to artifacts and treasures that were stolen from colonized nations. Conclusion. The demand for the return of the Cullinan Diamond from King Charles's crown has brought attention to a dark chapter in the history of colonization and exploitation. The theft of diamonds and other precious artifacts from South Africa and other colonized nations is a reminder of the injustices and inequalities that have characterized the relationship between colonizers and colonized peoples. The debate over repatriation raises important questions about cultural heritage, ownership, and restitution. It challenges us to consider the ethical implications of holding on to artifacts and treasures that were stolen from colonized nations and to confront the legacy of colonialism. While the outcome of the demand for the return of the Cullinan Diamond remains uncertain, the controversy surrounding it highlights the need for a more nuanced and thoughtful approach to issues of cultural heritage and ownership. It also reminds us of the importance of recognizing and addressing the injustices of the past in order to build a more just and equitable future.